So let's do, so here's what I want to execute. It's really the same. They're just two commands that do different things. I'm going to show you these two. The difference, let's execute this code. This one here, this one here, versus, so first three lines exactly the same. X is 200. I shouldn't use this fat thing. All right, so exactly the same lines. First three exactly the same line, only the fourth one is different. Z is equal to X, but here I'm not going to do X of 0 is 55. I'm going to do X is something like this, 55, or even just 55. It doesn't have to be a list. Okay, it's not going to be the same, or if you, whatever version you want is the same. Okay, so let's execute these first three lines because they are the same. And, you know, there's not much new to say about that. All right, let me just, okay. So let me put some locations down. How many do we need? 3 basically. X101, let's say this is X200. If I need this, let's say this is 307. Okay, so we execute the first line is the same in both sides. Python goes to the right-hand side, creates an object, stores it somewhere, and takes this address and say, where should I put this address? Well, in variable X. So here is variable X. It has location X307. So X is pointing to this picture. I want this nicer, just a second. We're gonna be done soon. For those who are waiting, this is really, all right. So these are the two lines of code, and this is what's in the, this is memory. This is what's in the variable, sorry, this is variables. Variables. Okay, we go to the next line. It's the same in both pieces of code. It says create an object. Okay, I create an object, put it on a free location. It's a list. The address of that list should be stored where? Well, it's in variable Y. So in variable Y, I put an address X200. So it means that Y, oh, I wish I didn't have these crosses, Y takes me to this address. Okay, then both have this, whatever is written in X, and X contains this address, should be put in variable Z. Variable Z does not exist. So I created and I put whatever is in X, that's 307. Let me use the same color coding, although I'm not sure that it makes any sense, my color coding. Okay, 307. So both Z and X point to this location. Let me use a bit thicker. So X goes here, Z goes here, and Y goes here. All right. Actually, so let me now make it more readable by moving Y out of the way. So we don't at least have a crossings. Makes it less readable. Okay, so Y is pointing there. So here are our variables, X, Y. So Y, X, Z. This is what the picture looks like in both programs after we executed the first three lines. Let's actually do this one first. You will see that it's the same as when we did integers. You go to the right-hand side. The only difference is where do I store the address? I go to the right-hand side. Python always does what it says there. In this case, it says create a list with one element 55. You put it on some location. Okay, I go and I put it in some free location. Let's say this one here, 55. Okay, let's say this address is X500. Okay, then Python said I should store this XZ to the variable on the left. This variable already exists, is this one here. Now it should contain this address rather than this address. Okay, so I have to erase this address and put X500 there. That means that this blue arrow now goes to Okay, so as you can see in this example too, X and Z only exchanged. We stored this address in X. Let's see the difference with this other one. That's going to make more sense, hopefully. I mean, right now, what we did on the red left side, it was exactly like an integer. Okay, so that's what we did. So let me do this just as a memory for this. So in example 2, so let me call this in this example, the second example, X ended up pointing here. Okay, so let's backtrack and undo that. So I can do the other one. It was like that. Oh no, it was like that. Because what was stored in X after 3 lines was like this. Okay, let me now execute this one. Okay, so I have to execute this line. What does Python do? It says create 55. It could have been a list. I created, store it on some address. Okay, I do exactly the same. I go and I create 55 and store it in some address. Let's say it's this address x400. Then Python said, where should I store this address? Before it was in X, but now it says store it, look at this, in X of 0. Where is variable X of 0? This is X, I follow it. This is X of 0. So this address actually is stored over there. What's stored in list also is address. I don't want to complicate it, but that's what it looks like. I hope you now see that that's exactly the same thing everywhere. Just here, you were storing the address in variable X of 0. Here, you were storing it in variable X. So it creates a number 55. It takes an address x400. Where do I store it? In variable X of 0. So here, X of 0 actually stores address x400. So the picture actually looks like this. So when I want to access, I want to access X of 0 and Z of 0. Let's see what happens in the second example. I'm going to use this gray thing. Follow X of 0, I get 55. Okay, let's do Z of 0. Follow Z, well, that's a list Z as well. Follow Z of 0, I get 55. Yeah, so basically the lists, I just don't want to, this kind of approximation, just knowing that if you do X of 0, X of 1, that you're actually changing an element, it's an easy approximation typically to handle, but it's not exactly correct. What I just showed you is correct. The way lists are done, the same way, it's not that 100 is stored in variable. The same way lists don't look like this. The way lists look like is like this. If this is a list X, this is variable X of 0. Okay, let me do it. The way lists look is like this. X of 0 has an address of 100. X of 1 has an address of where the second element is. X of 2 is what it stores there is an address of where the third element is. So actual picture is like this. So X of 0 stores an address of the first element. X of 1, just like any other variable. That's why I'm insisting. X of 0, X of 1, and so on are just variables. They store addresses of objects that they